this game, like, played an important part of my life.
Yeah.
And I had no idea it was this close. Like, I probably drove by this freeway when Yuji Naka was toiling away in here, yelling at some guy.
Right.
That blows my mind.
Hello, and welcome back to Super Kit Krysta 64. Today, we're doing something really interesting. You have uncovered some hidden gaming history in our neighborhood.
We're visiting a location of historic relevance in video games. We're going to where Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was developed. And you might be saying, wait, what? You're in America.
America.
Let us give you a quick history lesson to fill you in, because I didn't know this until very recently, and when I did, it became a rabbit hole that I could not stop falling deeper into.
Right.
So, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 was made in Japan with Japanese developers at the Sega headquarters, led by Yuji Naka, who's the guy who created Sonic the Hedgehog. But after that, he and Sega had this like huge falling out, and he kind of quit the company.
He did.
And around that time, Sega had opened this new studio in this area called Sega Technical Institute, STI.
STI, right.
Right, and it was headed by this guy, Mark Cerny, who now is very, works for PlayStation. And he's like the architect of the PlayStation. And this was like neither reporting to Sega Japan or America. It was like this independent thing where they had total creative freedom, this like pie in the sky, skunkworks kind of thing. So he goes to Japan and like recruits Yuji Naka. He's like, hey, why don't you come work for STI? And it's like, I'm not sure why he just quit, but he's like, yes, I'll go work for this other Sega thing. Anyhow.
Wanted something different, maybe.
Yeah. So he agrees to come out here with some of the team and work at STI.
Right.
Out here in suburban California, Northern California.
Right. This is the view right now.
Right. Look at this.
Look at this. There is
office parks,
kind of nothing here.
A big freeway, not a lot happening.
Yeah, we're in Palo Alto, California.
Right.
But it is such a weird surprise that, this is the area that this really sort of big Sonic game was developed.
Right. So he agrees to come out here, and they start talking about like, hey, let's make a sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
And we'll make it out here with this new team. And it was going to be this really interesting thing, this like kind of experimental mashup of these really experienced Japanese developers and these sort of up-and-coming American developers, which was this other thing that I didn't know about this game, was that not only was it made here, but it was this like international combination of developers, which is so interesting. But it seems that from then, it had a bit of a rocky start because they wanted to bring over more developers from Japan, but some of them got like tied up with visa issues. So
drama.
It was like the Japanese were not there to start, and they had like 9 months to make this game. This is not the like Grand Theft Auto.
Exactly.
We're taking 10 years.
10 years.
They had 9 months to make this game.
Yeah.
And then when they did get here, there were all these stories of like the Japanese developers and the American developers were not getting along.
Yep.
There were language issues.
Who would have thought that this kind of stuff would happen?
Like the Japanese developers were super into crunch cultures. They're like sleeping at the desk. And
we saw that.
Right. And the American developers were just doing like 9-to-5 stuff. So that created a lot of friction. Obviously, there were language issues.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like the happiest sort of
work environment
situation that they had. And people, had all sorts of issues with Yuji Naka, who's kind of been documented to be a bit of a challenging hothead to work with.
He did go to jail, so.
Yes, that may have been the ultimate proof of that. But, around the time also that the game was wrapping up or coming out, like, there's some very various tellings of this story. Cerny left and was replaced as a studio head by this guy named Roger Hector, who I only mentioned because I actually worked with him. When I worked at Namco around 2008, he came in and he was the head of development for Namco Bandai in the United States. I had no clue. I knew he was this older guy who used to work for Atari.
Yeah.
But I had no clue that he also had this role with Sega and these Sonic games. So if only I had known then. I don't know.
You could have talked to him about it or
Right.
something. Yeah.
So again, like the rabbit hole just gets so much deeper. And there's actually a really great video from the Video Game History Foundation
Yeah.
and our friend Frank, who found a lot of hidden details about this game, because there ended up being a lot of content that was cut from the game.
Right.
That he has found,
Lost levels.
and he's documented that. So we'll link to that in our
Yes.
description. That's a good kind of counterpoint to this. But
Really
I haven't
cool.
seen anybody actually going to this location.
No.
So I just want to see it. I want to catch the vibe
The vibe.
for myself.
Yeah.
Again.
Look at this.
Not-
There's nothing here.
Not much to speak of.
This is in Palo Alto. If you guys don't know, in California, it's sort of in the peninsula. It's not like a big city like San Francisco. It's very suburban. We're just like on the freeway, getting to this like random office park. So yeah, there's like really, look at this. Nothing really to speak of around here.
Right. So, again, my mind just continued to be blown that this is where this was made, that all these Japanese developers were flown out.
Yeah.
So,
And just like the vibe of this office being sort of this like skunk works, like let's do a sharing of the minds between Japanese and American developers was just an interesting thing.
right.
In that era.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And obviously,
yes.
they're not there anymore, but this is where it happened.
Yes.
I think I'm going to feel something. I am not. It's well documented. I do not love Sonic the Hedgehog, but I am fascinated by the history of this game, and I just want to feel it for myself. We're getting close, so we will check in once we get there.
Yes.
All right,
We've arrived.
we're here,
Yes.
as expected. It's a very
Basic.
plain, nondescript
Yeah.
office building.
It is blue.
I was looking at that too. I was like, is this Sonic blue? It's not. It's not quite.
Like baby blue.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm struck by a lot of things by this empty office.
Yeah.
First of all, is again, like I grew up about 10 minutes from here.
And you never knew.
And this game, like, played an important part of my life.
Yeah.
And I had no idea it was this close. Like, I probably drove by this freeway when
Like-
Yuji Naka was toiling away in here, yelling at some guy.
Right.
That blows my mind.
Like, you have such a strong emotional response to a game that defined parts of your childhood that was made like 2 miles from where you grew up.
Right.
That's a weird thing to think about. You know, it's a really weird thing to think about.
The other thing is, I kind of understand why the Japanese developers were a little cranky. I mean, there's not much here now.
No.
Back in 1992,
There's nothing
there was
here.
really nothing.
Yeah.
So I can
There is
understand
nothing
why
here.
you might be like, yeah, I'm going to sleep under my desk.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me here.
Right.
I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot create a life
This
here.
is not Tokyo.
Like there are no even now there's not a lot of Japanese restaurants in this area. Like you have to
Right.
kind of drive a little bit to get that.
Yeah.
So I can
yeah.
understand their mentality.
Yeah, it must be. They must have been homesick. They must have been,
right.
Yeah.
I'm here on this assignment. I'm going to sink everything into this, and forget these other people who are kind of bugging me.
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, I could see that being grating after a
Right.
while as well. So.
the other thing is, this is totally just like a me thing. It's like, there should be a plaque or a statue or something here.
To commemorate
Because this is a historically important site.
Yeah.
And, you know,
for video game history.
we poked our head inside.
Yeah,
There's just
you could
like,
go into the lobby.
Right, there's just
and it's sad. It's like, I think they used to have this whole building because you said that it was just like,
well, the address says the first floor.
Yeah.
So they had like the entire first floor to make that game.
Now it's just like
moved
these
out.
really sad little businesses.
Right.
You know, and like more than half, maybe like 80% of this building is just empty.
Right.
But it's really sad to think about, like, there's no sort of, you know, commemoration or whatever of this important part of video game history.
Right. So that makes me a little bit bummed out that something important can happen here and become kind of lost to time.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't feel great about that.
Yeah.
We did.
We have something
of our own, which we'll do a little bit later, which maybe can in the short term be a signal or a beacon.
Yes.
But I kind of just want to hang out here a little bit more and like feel the energy.
Exactly.
Of Sonic.
Feel the vibes.
Right.
Yeah, so we got this little figure because you were just talking about how there's no way to commemorate that anything happened here. So I'm gonna unbox it. Maybe we'll leave it here somewhere. What do you think? How come you're not saying anything to me?
Mike doesn't pick up.
Yes, it does. You're just nodding at me dumbly. All right, let's see. Okay. Good. Oh, let's go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Do we need this thing? I don't know what that is.
It's 10 coins.
10 coins. 10 coins. It's like a little gumball machine. Okay. We got... He's very opposable. See, he's cute. You gotta run fast. So fast.
All right.
Where should we put him?
Well, they have all these like little planters in there. Like I don't want the like cleaning staff to just take this away like tonight.
Yeah, that
So I
would be
feel like we could
sad.
like hide it in there. And he could just last forever.
Can he last forever? Someone has.
If nobody's going to build a plaque, we're going to take matters into our own hands.
Yes, we're trying to do a good video game deed here.
So let's go. Let's just go.
All right, so we are leaving this office building.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you could say, well, it's a mostly empty office building, but I definitely felt something walking around. I'm glad we got to go inside. You could even like, look in
to like the empty space.
Imagine there's Yuji Naka berating somebody or somebody working on a level.
That's what you imagine. Yuji Naka berating somebody.
It's not a design document or it's not some, lost level, but that is a piece of history.
It's true.
So that was pretty cool, I thought.
It was very cool. I'm glad we left a little memento.
I'm very happy with that.
I hope that it stays there for more than a day, but it felt very, very interesting to go to a place that we've probably both driven by dozens and dozens and hundreds and millions of times as we live in this area. We just never knew that it was part of video game history. Yeah. All right.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Let us know what you think. If you have any obscure video game history things around where you live, tell us in the comments, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.